money oftentimes is a reflection of your self-worth, and you kind of touched on that, is that we kind of equate a value, whether large or small, to who we are or how people are going to see us. We associate those two things. And so it's really trying to sever those ties and know no matter how much you have in the bank or don't have in the bank, you're still worthy. You're still worth it.
I'm Vivian Tu, AKA Your Rich BFF and your favorite Wall Street girly.
I'm Brian Walsh, AKA Dr. Money, and I lead financial planning at SoFi.
And this is Richer Lives, the show that helps you learn how to use your money to live your best life.
We all want more dollar signs in our bank account.
But also more fulfillment, satisfaction, and success.
So we're here to bring you conversations with inspiring guests
who've been where you are and are now where you want to be.
And we'll provide guidance that aims to get you there step by step.
Because everyone deserves the opportunity to live richer lives. Welcome to another episode of Richer Lives, the show that's here to help you find new ways to live that lifestyle you've always wanted to live. If you're like me and got deep into the spin class life during lockdown, then today's guest will be a familiar face.
I know, I'm excited. Group rides absolutely saved my sanity during the pandemic.
Well, today's guest is Allie Love. Allie is a multifaceted personality that you probably know from her world-renowned cycling classes, but she's also an in-arena host for the Brooklyn Nets, host of Netflix's Dance 100, founder of Love Squad, Today's Show on-air contributor, and more. But before we jump into this week's episode, let's talk about transparency. We like to take a minute at the beginning of each show to just be clear with everyone about how we get such amazing people to show up on here. For all of the people you'll see here today, a part of the reason why they're here is we're all working to get our money right. Allie Love and myself are both non-client promoters, AKA we're getting paid to be here.
And I'm a registered representative with SoFi Securities LLC and an investment advisor representative with SoFi Wealth LLC. Basically, in every episode of Richer Lives, it's my job to make sure that nothing said is false or misrepresents investing and is generally good information in helping you get your money right.
Now that's out of the way, let's bring out Allie Love. Welcome to the show, Allie. We're so excited for you to be here and we're so excited to chat.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
We like to start things off a little light, a little silly, with a random icebreaker question. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so if you could choose anything to get for free for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Only one thing.
Only one thing.
So this isn't fair because what comes to mind are flights, hotels. Like I'm thinking of expensive items that come up often.
Okay.
But I'm gonna keep it real simple. If I could have one thing free in life every single day, it's Chipotle.
Unexpected
Oh
answer.
my goodness.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes, it's expensive if you eat Chipotle every day.
But you get guac, right?
I always get guac.
It's
I get
extra.
guac and queso.
I feel like back in the day, it started out like $5-6 a burrito. Now it's like 14 or 15. Like that's a good call.
Yeah, Daddy Warbucks over here getting queso and guac.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
I know you didn't expect that one. He's probably like life of luxury.
Yeah.
Chipotle makes me happy.
I mean, that's like the best answer I could hear. That is my favorite food in the entire world. Yeah.
Okay, let's take a break and talk about a way that you can earn more money on your money to potentially fund a little bit more guacamole in your life. Let's talk about the power of high yield savings accounts. These things are literally the unsung heroes of 2022 and 2023. If you don't know, a high yield savings account is just like a normal savings account, but it pays multiples compared to a basic savings account, meaning you make money by just having money parked there. People often compare investing and high yield savings accounts, but they really are different accounts with different uses. Brian, can you give us an example of what you might use a high yield savings account for?
Yeah, so generally, if you plan to, or you could use the money in the next few years, then it should be in a savings account and not invested. So think emergency fund, down payment on a house, wedding, things like that.
The best part is every SoFi checking and savings account has a high yield savings account built right in. When we recorded this episode, people with direct deposit are getting 4.50% APY on any money they have in their SoFi savings accounts. If you're ready to sign up for SoFi checking and savings, go to SoFi.com/richerlives. Now back to our chat with Allie Love.
One question we like to kind of get everything started with when we're interviewing people is, I guess, how would you define richness or being rich to you? And I guess by that definition, would you consider yourself rich?
Ooh. So it's interesting the way you put this question, but honestly what comes up for me is rich is when time is no longer a luxury, right? A luxury that I can't afford. What do I mean by that is like when time is a commodity, I get to choose how I spend my time and who I spend my time with. I feel like then my life is therefore rich. I've worked really hard to get to a space where the people around me are the people that I want to be around, are the people that enrich through conversation, through love, through fun, through humor. And I'm able to choose what I want to do and when I want to do it. I think to me that's the ultimate or the epitome of what it means to be rich in life is when my time is my own. That's not always the case for many of us, right? So that's why it's a goal for me.
Yeah.
So not like a dollar amount, it's more like independence or freedom to just live your life on your own terms.
Exactly, like what if you could just get up right now and leave with no consequences? Exactly, you get my drift.
Wait, this wouldn't be your number one thing to do?
Talking a little bit about choice, when you decided to become a full-time dancer and your mom said, you gotta get a degree too. What were your financial expectations for being a full-time dancer versus how your financial realities are now?
So it's interesting because growing up, I didn't know that dance was an opportunity or career opportunity for myself. I fell in love at dance at 9 years old and I was like, I want to explore this. My mother and father were definitely down for it, but we didn't know at what point does this art form become a hobby or a really, a pursuit in a career. And so what we decided after having conversations in high school, my parents were like, go to college, get a degree, and continue to explore the arts. We don't know what it means. And they truly didn't. No one in my family were dancers or artists or musicians. When I got into college and it was time to make a living, you start to explore this as a career. So at this point, you're auditioning, you're gigging a little bit, making a couple $100 here and there. You come to find out what a full-time dancer makes. And in all honesty, I feel like dancers are the most underpaid, underrated athletes in the world. It was not a salary or a wage that I could live on successfully in New York City. I would have to have 4 roommates. My parents weren't able to support me continuously. So I had to make a choice. It was one of those things of, do I live just a dancer's life or do I lean into that multifacetedness and explore modeling and other opportunities that I could take care of myself?
Where would you say the line is of it's important to make money to be able to live your best, richest life, but also not letting it consume you in a way that's unhealthy?
Well, I think it's an intersection of those two things, right? Understanding what makes you happy, right? Like a Venn diagram. What makes you happy, what you're really good at, and truly what you want your life to look like, living, how to pay your bills, how many bills do you have realistically? And leaning into that intersection it's getting curious and having internal conversation and dialogue of truly, what do I love doing? What brings me so much joy? You know what I mean? Is it eating with my friends? Is it eating out? Is it cooking? Understanding those things of truly what brings me joy. What am I good at? When I'm in a room of 100 people, I'm gonna make my living speaking. That's what I think that's what I'm good at, right? I'm gonna lean into that. And then truly the life that I see for myself and my family in the next 10 years, 15, 20 years, what does that look like? And get realistic around that. And then look at the intersection of those things. And I think that's how, when we talk about self-worth, that's how I look at my self-worth in relation to money or finances. There's no one straight line from A to B to say, well, money doesn't matter. It does. And if you take away someone's money, you take away sincerely the hard work that they've put in to achieve that. Sometimes your money does directly reflect the hard work you've put in. Sometimes it's the only thing you have to show that I did work. No one knows what you were doing behind closed doors when you were working every day or on your computer every day. Your money is a reflection or a representation of that. So sometimes that's the only thing. And it's getting comfortable with that. It's finding those 3 circles, leaning into that intersectionality and having those true conversations.
When you talk about the intersection of money with the 3 M's, sometimes people trade money for their health or their physical well-being, or they trade money for their mental energy, and trying to figure out how you balance that and how you pull that back in and kind of going through that. So I'd love to get your thoughts. How do you figure out, okay, now I'm gonna enjoy the now versus now I'm gonna have to go after what's next?
Totally. I think one of the things that truly comes to mind is the season of the life that you're in, right? Your life isn't always exactly the same. And so for me, in my experience, it's recognizing the seasons that I do have to work a little harder when there is a goal set for myself. When it's time to make a big purchase, things will shift. The priorities shift. The projects will shift. What matters shifts. So that means maybe taking a few more jobs. And let's be honest here. Not everyone's gonna live in the perfect la-la land of, well, if it doesn't serve me mentally, I'm not gonna take that job. No, you gotta pay your bills, okay? Realistically, you gotta pay your bills, and money is the way to do that. So there's a little bit of a trade-off in seasons of our lives. And in my life, I try to recognize the season I'm in. And more importantly, I try to make sure that I'm not always in the same season all the time. So I'm not compromising my mental health for years, my physical health for years. Maybe in a short period of time, they all are compromised to get to where I need to go, but they heal in the in-between time.
And is that like reflection, like ongoing, or is it you set it up where you're like, hey, I'm gonna do this a couple times a year where I'm gonna think about what season I'm in as you kind of reprioritize things?
Oh, it's definitely ongoing. It's the conversations that I have with my friends. It's truly something, especially living in New York City, it's an expensive place to live. The city can be super tough and honestly rewarding. And so you have to have this self-awareness around where you are physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's an ongoing conversation. I don't get it right all the time. I'm not this all-knowing being, but I do try to check in with myself. Honestly, I write a lot. Journaling, I sound so boring, but I journal because I gotta get it out and I gotta read it back and say, where am I?
Boring.
No?
No.
Oh, okay, thanks.
That's smart.
I'm cool. We're like, wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
No, I mean, journaling can be powerful. I mean,
Yes.
everyone does it for different reasons. I do it to help me sleep. Like, I have to do my to-do list. So that way, because otherwise I just sit there at night and I think about everything I have to do tomorrow. Versus if I write it down, I'm like, okay, that's tomorrow's problem. So I mean, like, everyone does it for different reasons, but I think it can be super powerful.
Oh, thank you. Making me feel good. I appreciate it.
Okay, so you've heard us talk about SoFi checking and savings, but did you know that SoFi offers something that's even better than that? It's called SoFi Plus, and just like your checking and savings account, there's no extra cost to sign up.
SoFi Plus takes this idea of all your finances all in one place and helps supercharge all your different accounts by plussing up your banking, borrowing, and investing. It gives you SoFi's top APY in your savings, 3% cash back on your credit card, personal loan rate discounts, and more.
And the best part is, signing up is simple. All you need to do is set up direct deposit for SoFi checking and savings to unlock SoFi Plus. So take the first step and head over to SoFi.com/richerlives to open your SoFi checking and savings account today. Welcome back. We're here with Allie Love exploring her rich life. She's known for her brutal but fun workouts. Now it's our turn to put her through the ringer.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so here's the class roadmap. We're gonna throw out a topic, and then you have 20 seconds to give as many answers as you can, then 10 seconds to rest. And then rinse and repeat.
Oh, this is like a Tabata.
Yeah, money
Exactly.
Tabata.
Money
Money
Tabata.
Tabata.
Okay.
Okay, so Allie, you have 20 seconds to name as many different kinds of currency as you can. Go.
Gosh, yen, real, Canadian dollars, Trinidadian dollars, US dollars, pounds, I guess sterlings are the same thing. Euro, rupees. Does Bitcoin count? I don't know.
I'm gonna leave that one alone for now.
Oh, gosh. That wasn't good?
That's a lot.
That was good?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, okay. 10-second recovery.
Okay. I do love a 10-second recovery.
Yeah. It always goes by too quick though.
Oh, way too quick.
Okay, you have 20 seconds. Name as many company stocks as you can. Go.
Walt Disney, T-Mobile, Chipotle, Peloton, should I know? Apple, Google, Uber, are they public? Tell me, help me here. Oh gosh, SoFi, okay, that's the layup, you're right.
Well, you know
I
what?
wasn't good, you know?
You ended on the most important one.
Yeah, you got the most important one. You're good.
Yes, not all efforts are your best efforts, okay? So that wasn't my best effort, but I gave it a good college try.
Okay, 10-second rest.
Okay. Whew.
And I gotta admit, it's way better being on this side of a Tabata than on that
This
side.
hear
actually
that.
feels longer.
I hear
Does
that.
it?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, final round.
Are you sweating yet?
I am. My armpits are.
Good, because we are about to get way more personal. You have 20 seconds to tell us your last 5 purchases. Go.
How many times I'm going to say Chipotle, but I did buy Chipotle. I bought a brand new lip gloss.
Ooh.
She's wearing it right now.
Cute.
Expensive bubble gum from the airport.
What flavor?
It was mint, something
Okay,
mint. I only have 20 seconds. What else? Did you getting my nails count? Is that really weird? Okay. And then I did buy these cute pair of jeans from Zara.
Cute. That was a well-diversified 5.
Okay, good.
Okay, moving on.
We're back with Allie Love, and we have some more questions for you.
Ooh.
what's driving you? Is money the motivator? Like what is there, that you're able to then nurture to really get you from point A to wherever you want to be?
I was having this conversation in Miami with my mom and my husband, is that I truly want my husband, my mom, my grandmother to be proud of the work that I'm doing right now. And so there's a little bit of that balance of, yes, I want to everybody does it. When you try to get someone to mow your lawn, or when you look for, a shirt to wear to an event, you're looking for the highest quality, the best deal for the lowest price. We're all looking for the same things, right? I'm looking for the easiest work in certain areas with the highest return on my investment, right?
And your time.
And my time, which is literally the highest currency that we have. And so within that, when I say I want my family to be proud of me, is that I want to build a life where when they feel supported, that they are honored in all of the work that they put so I can go to college, and that they get to talk about what I do with fondness and admiration, right? I never want it to be a point where they're not necessarily ecstatic around like talking about their grandchild or their child or their wife. And so for me, that does drive me, is I really do want to make these people proud. It may not sound the most glamorous, but it's important to me. And then when I look to the future, I want my kids to be like, my mom is a boss. Like, she's a total boss. I want them to brag about their mom. Like, my mom was on the Today Show. My mom is a Peloton instructor. Like, my mom works out. She runs half marathons, not really long marathons yet. But, something where they feel a little cheeky, that they could talk about their mom and be proud of her.
I mean, I feel like those are hard flexes for their friends to top on that one. So I think you're gonna be good.
Exactly.
And there's always gonna be times where like, okay, the hard work, the drive, it paid off big financially. And there's times where you put in that hard work, you put in that drive, and it doesn't pay off big. So I'd love to hear like an example of each side of that coin where it paid off versus when it didn't pay off.
Where it paid off, I got the job hosting for the Brooklyn Nets. I started dancing, and I realized dancers don't make enough money at the time, unfortunately, to live in New York City. There was an opportunity to take some hosting classes. I took some hosting classes. I sent my reel to everyone in my Gmail, whether you knew me or not. I was like, hey, I'll host your kid's birthday party. I'll host your charity events, all free. Like, I need to get out there. And so I ended up taking a hosting class. Upon that hosting class, I like literally fell in love with it. Send out those emails. Nobody emailed me back. I was a little devastated. I was like, oh gosh, how do you break into this industry?
Nobody wanted you to host their kids' not even their
3-year-old birthday party. And then after maybe 3 months, I got this random email. It was like, hey, the Brooklyn Nets are looking for a host. I was like, cool. I got a reel. It was super janky. I'm like, I got a reel. I'm gonna send it to them. So I sent it to them. I came in for an interview, and they took a risk on me. I'd never hosted before. So I went from talking one-on-one to talking to 18,000 fans, 41 home games plus playoffs and preseason. And I remember the first time stepping on that court, having my cue cards like you have, but they're like in front of my face, and I'm shaking, and they're like in my ear talking like 10, 9, and I'm like just shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh. I walk out there and I have the cards like covering my nose, and I'm like, hey fans, And I just started talking to these people. I remember my husband, but boyfriend at the time, he was like, this will be the worst game you host forever. This will be this is your first one. It will be your worst one. You'll get better and better and better. So I went out there. I was really scared. I was terrified. I went out there. I started hosting. The reality is, in-arena hosts, maybe at that time, and maybe this time it's a little different, but in my experience, you can get paid a lot of bucks, right? This was a bet on myself. It was a bet on that I'm taking 5 hours of a work day, maybe at that point, probably 7 with the commute. I'm making a little bit of money, 41 games, so that's almost twice a week in the span of 6 months. That's a lot of nights. I'm getting home by midnight. I'm usually getting up to gig at this point at 6 a.m. So it was one of those risks. It paid off. So, and I say this because it gave me the eyes and ears of 18,000 people throughout. I've been 10 seasons now. Not only did it help with exposure, but I was able to polish my craft like in real time. So that paid off. In terms of times that it necessarily didn't pay off, I have countless, because as a dancer, you go to auditions 5 times, 6 times a week. You're there in your leotard and tights. You have 100, 200 people. And sometimes you would come and they would just line you up and they'll go, no, yes, no, yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how it goes. So you could pack your bags, get on the train. You've woken up early. You're stretching. You filled out your form. You bring your resume, your photo,
And you haven't danced yet.
not even
Just-
a kickball change, honey. Line up, and they literally tell you to leave after being in the room for 2 minutes. And it's devastating because then all of a sudden you're like, not only have I invested my time, we talk about that, but also I feel terrible about myself. What didn't I have? I didn't have what they were looking for. I don't even know what they were looking for.
Right.
And so it was many moments like those where, even then there were times where that would happen and maybe let's say that was 5 minutes, right? The prep time was a lot, but that was 5 minutes. There are times you're in an audition, 12 hours. You get down to the last 4 girls. And you're thinking, I just need this job. I gotta pay my bills. I also need this for my ego a little bit because it's bruised. I've gotten so many no's in the last month. And these are moments where it didn't necessarily, I'm not a dancer, so it didn't necessarily pay off in those moments. And I would be in that room for 12 hours, last 4 girls to get, thank you, we'll see you next time. 12 hours, no pay, nothing, no upside. I can say, yes, I learned maybe patience. Let's be honest. It wasn't, I didn't really learn that much.
Can I ask you a horrible question?
Yeah.
What was a worse feeling? Getting cut after 2 minutes or after 12 hours?
2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, getting cut after 2 minutes because you judged me. You didn't even know. You didn't let me show you anything.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was in the room for 12 hours, at least you can compare my skill set, my personality, the way I laugh, like the way I, did my pirouettes. I don't know. You can compare it to exactly what you're looking for. And I got closer to maybe what that was. And maybe I didn't nail something exactly. That's fine. There was, there's room to grow. But if you're just judging me on my hair, my height, my weight, and I don't know which one it is, it feels terrible because I think everything's wrong with me. And there were many moments where I'm defeated in New York, like, should I just give up? But I kept going. I kept going to many auditions. I waste a lot of headshots on it. They're not cheap.
How do you balance opportunities with burnout and taking advantage of those things, when to push forward, when to throttle back? It's something I struggle with. I think it's something that most people I talk to from a planning perspective struggle with as well.
Yeah. Well, I struggle with burnout as well. I have similar experiences where I think I'm okay and I think I can keep going. And then all of a sudden there's an internal explosion where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to stop right now. So I don't necessarily have the answer of how to deal with it. I just know I've been in moments of it happening where I saw it happening, but I neglected those feelings and said, you know what, the opportunity is worth it. But in terms of what I've read and researched, because we've all gone through it, it's the preventative care that I do try to tap into, is to truly take care of myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. 5 minutes a day, I ask myself this question every single day. It's a 2-part question. How or what do I want to feel today? And I feel like anchoring myself in that answer, whether it's I want to be talkative today. I want to be quiet today. I want to lead with joy. I want to ask a lot of questions today. I just want to be in my feelings today. Whatever that is, I let that lead my day. And the reason for that is because I realize I waste a lot of energy being reactive to everything that happened to me. What do I mean? It's like getting up in the morning and I will, you stroll on Instagram and you're just like, oh, this person's living the best life. And my life sucks. I am now reacting to something I've opened myself up to. And so instead of reacting, I'm like, I'm going to lead with a feeling. I'm going to manage my energy. Economy of energy is so important. So if I'm able to be proactive instead of reactive with my energy by leading with the feelings that I want to lead with, I think that's kind of my preventative self-care. How or what do I want to feel today? Let that be the driving force. And there are days where I'm like, oh, I'm coming after everybody today. Oh yeah, but I feel comfortable with that energy because at the end of the day, it didn't catch me off guard. I wasn't out of pocket. No one got something from me that I wasn't prepared to give them. And so I think it's worked so far.
So as you're talking through that, I just love the habits that you create of kind of those preventative measures. And it reminds me of personal finances because it really is all about identifying small habits and sticking with them. So I'd love to hear how you identified what are these habits, these small habits I should focus on, and then how do you stick with them? Because sometimes it's they work so well that you stop doing them.
So one of the things I try to keep in mind is just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. So what I mean by that is you could mowing the grass is simple. Saving, every time, you get a paycheck, you can save a certain amount of that. It's simple. It's really hard for some people to do simple things. So you have to figure out, what are those simple things that are easy for you? One of the things I used to do when I first started making a little bit of cash in New York City is every time I would break a big, I call it tall bill, but a big bill, the change, like literally coins and all the dollars would go in a jar. There was no compromise. I tried it out for a couple months and simple concept, it was easy for me. One of my girlfriends tried it and she was like, this is really hard, because I just end up going right into the jar and I'm like, oh, I'll just use this for laundry. So I try to identify what are those simple things that have big payoffs that are easy for me.
I feel like it's so reassuring to someone like me to hear you, someone who feels like they're doing it all. Like, talk about that, it's okay not to be 100% okay or happy and in love with your life and go, go, go all the time, because burnout is so real.
Yeah. No, and I think there is pressure, social media. I mean, let's be honest. Everyone puts out the smallest aperture of their life on social media.
And it's the highlights.
It's the highlight reel. And the funny thing is, we all know it.
Yeah.
We all know it's smoke and mirrors. Is that the concept? Smoke and mirrors behind the curtains, right? It's the Wizard of Oz, the big voice, little body. We all know that. But for some strange reason, we still believe that what we see on social media is somewhat true. And so I think it's really being mindful, and this is what I try to do, is I limit my time on social media so that I'm not feeding myself some of those realities that aren't real. And I think the reason that is because then I think I have to run faster than I'm running now, which will lead to burnout even quicker.
You know what I find interesting? Kind of hit on like social media, where it can tempt people with looking at others' best moments, is it could also be done the opposite way. Let's say you follow people that are talking about money and opening up that conversation. It could really be kind of like a risk-free way to talk about this subject that you think was taboo, to start opening yourself up.
Yeah.
Like, how do we build a community that's willing to talk about money, empower each other with like good habits and, those types of things within that?
I've talked about this at Love Squad events. I think 2 points come to mind. It was that money oftentimes is a reflection of your self-worth, and you kind of touched on that, is that we kind of equate a value, whether large or small, to who we are or how people are going to see us. We associate those two things. And so it's really trying to sever those ties and know no matter how much you have in the bank or don't have in the bank, you're still worthy. You're still worth it. You are still a combination of all the things you have and that you don't have, right? Those are all blessings in disguise, in a sense. And so I think it's detaching that value. And then the second point is it's coming to terms with, if you don't like where you are financially, let's start negotiating. Negotiations are powerful things. A lot of people don't do that. And I think that what we talk about at Love Squad is the opportunity to get the no, which is where the negotiations truly start. So you do your research. How much is this worth in different states? How much is this, literally your position making in different states, in your community, and then compare those things and what are you offering? And go in and have those conversations. The worst thing you can get is a no, so you're gonna be where you are now, but what if you can turn that no into a yes, a maybe, a roadmap?
And I think that's where it's interesting, because where knowledge comes into play.
Yeah.
Because I used to, this may sound weird, but my dream car has always been a Ford F-150. That's what I drive now. I know
I don't even know what that is.
It's a big
like
pickup
a big
truck.
old truck.
Big old pickup truck.
What is
I
that?
have one, but now whenever I see someone driving around that truck, all I see is an $800 a month car payment. I don't see, that guy is just loaded. So just that knowledge and that perspective,
That's a good point.
changes what I think when I see things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that knowledge of understanding, and it goes back to when I talk about getting a job in college, I didn't know what my opportunity set were. I didn't know what dancers make. And so it's opening that conversation up to say, and getting curious around, what is this position? What does this title mean? Because nowadays everybody has random titles and they make them up, and which is cool because I have done that before. And you make it up and you add a value, and your value is how much someone's willing to pay for that work. And so I think it's truly interesting when you say that.
I'd love to ask for a piece of advice, since you are such a great speaker, to kind of decouple finances from our everyday perceptions of other people. I'm going to a lot of weddings this season, so many. And I feel like a big question when you're mingling with people that you're just meeting is, oh, what do you do? what should we be asking instead of like, what do you do? Tying that job so much and like that finance of that job so much to somebody's worth. What's another question we can ask?
So I think one of the things I try to ask when I see a couple that's together, I ask like, what do they do together? What do they enjoy doing, right? Or I ask like, when's the last time like if the wedding is in a really nice vacation wedding, right? When you have to travel, I ask, oh, where's the last place you've traveled to? So we're in whatever, Ibiza. I don't know who got married in Ibiza, but lucky you.
Can I get an invite?
I know. But like we're in Ibiza. When's the last time you traveled and where to? And it could be just as like, oh, I just went to Kentucky. And it's like, oh my God, let's talk. You can get curious around those places. And what you do, well, I feel like it'll always come up because our titles are part of us. And I don't think we should be ashamed of that, but I don't think we should lead with that.
So when you think about people in your community, like let's say you want to talk about finances, who do you turn to and how did you find those people?
So they always say that you are a reflection of the top 5, right? You're a combination of the top 5 people you're hanging around. My top 5 are the people I talk about money with. I get super candid with. And it is uncomfortable because everyone's human. It's not something we compare ourselves even when we don't, even when we're aware that we're doing it. It's something that comes up. So I'm mindful that when that topic does come up, that it's not triggering, right? I ask my friends, my close inner circle friends, hey, I want to talk about this job or this job offer, or I want to run this past you. I'm going to start in talks with this type of, job. You may have some experience. Give me some advice. Do you think this is a fair offer, ask, or whatever the case may be? I do preface the conversation by asking if I can talk about it so that they're prepared.
That's nice.
Because again, taboo topics don't need to be taboo. They just sometimes need to be prefaced, right? Prefaced.
I like that, where you kind of like set the stage, you ask permission, and then you can kind of get to something that's more sensitive.
Yeah, and I really do talk about finances a lot.
Yeah.
I do tend to, amongst other things, but I try, the more I talk about it, the more comfortable I am with where I am.
Yeah.
Ellie, thank you so much for coming. It was an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. And I love that we talked about money.
Love it. You're the best.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Did you watch this episode and think, dang, how do I take steps like this in my life toward my financial goals? Then you're in luck. All you need to do is become a SoFi member and make an appointment to talk to one of the no-cost financial planners.
SoFi financial planners can help you get clear on your goals and build actionable steps towards reaching those goals. Whether that's guidance on how to build a budget, plans on paying down debt, or creating saving and investing routines, they can help you take steps towards getting your money right so that way you can live a richer life.
Make an appointment today at SoFi.com/no-cost financial planning.
Sometimes the drive of the people we have on this show makes me feel like I need to work a little bit harder or I'm not doing enough.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go home and start a new company. I have no idea what it's gonna be, but I feel like after getting that pep talk, I feel like I could lift a tree up.
I know. Personally, I'm going to start journaling because I think that's extremely powerful.
That's a good one. I think it's good that we can keep ourselves grounded so that we don't burn out either.
Exactly.
Keep living richly.
See you next time. Hi again, it's me, Brian Walsh, aka Dr. Money, here to talk about some of the legal stuff. Though I am a certified financial planner certificate, your finances are unique. That means anything I talk about today shouldn't be considered advice. Think about it more as high-level education or guidance. Also, please subscribe to our channel. Now that I know what it's like to wear makeup, I might just do it every day.
Yeah. We should be each other's accountability buddies.
Accountability buddies?
Accountability buddies.
Accountability buddies.